Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in over a decade, we have ourselves our Har Bowl.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the James and Dame Show. I'm Will James,
I'm Josiah Adamas.
and this is the Week 12 preview. That wasn't my second take, that was my first take.
I almost laughed.
As always, just going to put a little disclaimer at the front, as per usual, that if you want to compete with us as far as game predictions, link in the description. And there's a post from a couple months ago
Yes.
to join our Pick'em League and compete with us. We welcome everybody to come compete with us. It was not a great week really for anyone. Josiah and I dropped out of first because
We were tied for first. There was a
last week.
three-way tie for first.
We both dropped out going 8-6.
Yeah. We're still 99 and 67 overall.
We had two people go 9-5. Amber being one of those. So good job, Amber. And Jay Newen Cats, who has taken first place. And the first one to reach 100 wins in the Pick'em. So props to you in the Pick'em leagues, as we will get on to our picks.
For week 12.
Starting with Thursday night.
Ew.
I know, ew.
I don't want to.
And I will say this is the upset that I really want to happen, and it totally could happen because it's the AFC North. But Steelers Browns, I mean, Steelers coming off a win over the Ravens, Browns coming off of a loss to the Saints.
Yeah, there's not much to hold up to standard there. I don't know. I don't have much faith in the Browns. I did say that they were probably going to be one of the first teams to be eliminated. So
Yeah, they're definitely in contention for that. It's the AFC North. It's so hard to tell who's going to do what. I mean, the Browns suck, like, horribly.
this is the one team who I think is not going to win any divisional games this year in the North.
They already
Everything-
have.
That's true. They did have. My bad.
They beat the Ravens, which
beat
is
the
why
Ravens.
I'm like, the AFC North doesn't make sense because the Ravens swept the Bengals and have lost their other two. It doesn't make sense. So that's what makes this one super interesting. I'm still going to go with the Steelers because
I have two.
I think they're well coached, well managed. Russell Wilson, while maybe not playing phenomenally, still is managing the team.
Blind.
He's managing the team. Like he's working things out. He's not being asked to do a lot. And he's just doing
is
the
a
bare
game-
minimum to win games, and
Game
that's all.
manager.
That's all he really needs right now. I mean, that's what they were looking for in a veteran, anyways. So
Yep.
I'm going the Steelers.
All right. I'm as well. So
All right,
much
cool.
to change there. However, we're going to start going into our noon slate for Sunday. We got the Vikings visiting the Bears. This is one of those games where I had to sit and think for just maybe a minute and just be like, will the Bears upset the Vikings? I mean, it's possible.
This week has a lot of upset potential.
Yeah, it's giving very much Week 10 upset vibes because it's Week 10 was rough for everybody. Or just predictions wise, like everybody was going through the trenches through that one. I think you and I tied that week with the most wins. I think it was like 8 or 7.
It was not
It
a
was
good week.
it was a bad week.
It was a bad week. Yeah, obviously looking at these teams, Bears coming off of a heartbreaking loss off of a blocked field goal to the Packers, so their losing streak to them continues. Meanwhile, the Vikings only won by 10 against the Titans. Their defense just I feel like has been figured out recently. I think what was so electric about them the first few weeks has not been as electric, and obviously like they're not allowing a bunch of points still, but it is not doing as it was at the beginning of the year. So I think this one's interesting. I think there's a lot of upset potential.
Definitely.
I'm curious to see if you're gonna go with an upset or not.
I don't know here because that's the thing. There's a lot of these games where I'm like, I'm not sure who to pick, but this is one where Bears are cursed. That is a known fact. They're going to continue to be cursed for a while until they finally get rid of Eberflus. And their GM and everyone else. I picked the Vikings originally, and I'm probably going to stick with them. It's just, this is one of those games where I'm just like, I hate this because I can see both scenarios because the Vikings haven't been good and the Bears somewhat played better against the Packers, but Packers like to tease them a little bit sometimes. You know how it is. So I don't know how much that was actually the Packers actually being bad, which is probably what happened, or the Bears are just starting to get better. I don't know.
So you're sticking with the Vikings?
I think I'm sticking with the Vikings. It's just I don't like the idea of the Bears winning only because it just doesn't make sense in this scenario. I don't know what it is. I don't know. The Vikings haven't been convincing either, so it's very hard to choose.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's very interesting. The Bears, obviously, like we mentioned, coming off a heartbreaking loss, their defense has been good all year. Their offense has been the question, but their offense has taken a step forward after a 3-week drought, which eventually led to Shane Waldron's firing. You took a step forward against a Packers team who also has a good defense. Vikings showing some holes. I mean, obviously, they still have a lot of electric potential. You have Justin Jefferson. So, regardless, I mean, you could look at everyone else, too.
The Bears have been slightly depleted on the defensive front. That's another thing I've been looking at. They haven't been performing as well as I thought they have been. I mean, they kept the Packers pretty close. They've been doing better, but it's just that defense doesn't spark a whole lot of confidence, especially recently. I don't know.
I really like the Bears' defense.
They're good. Don't get me wrong. It's just they're not playing up to what they can be. That's where I'm disappointed in.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. And it's also just, the Bears being the Bears. But
Cursed.
I am actually going to go with the Bears in this one. I'm going to side with an upset just because, I don't know. I have a feeling that they're going to right the ship a little bit more. Vikings are kind of in a comfortable state. I mean, they're trying to chase the Lions, but also in reality, you're more trying to stay ahead of the Packers.
Packers, yeah.
So Bears, I think, are in like an upset window here against the Vikings, and I think they're going to seize it in a divisional game that has the divisional games have been pretty good between the NFC North teams.
Yeah, they've been pretty close. I will admit that.
It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, but usually the ones who are supposed to win do win. They've just been keeping it close.
It depends on your perspective. Moving on to another NFC North team, not as interesting. We got the Lions visiting the Colts. Colts sneaking out a win against the Jets, who are an absolute mess, and the Lions coming off of a beatdown of the Jaguars, who
I
still have Doug Peterson.
AR-15. I hope you keep your kneecaps. Is all I'm gonna say, because Dan Campbell is hungry.
Yeah,
and he is feasting right now.
Blue Kitty gonna go meow is what I'm gonna say.
Motor Kitty, Motor Kitty go meow. Yeah, Lions.
Yeah,
they currently have a 98% of the people on ESPN have chosen the Lions to win. So, and they are very much favored. So,
yeah,
by a lot,
by quite a bit, and understandably so. Colts have some holes and some concerns. As a Colts person, as a Colts fan, I think their objective, what they're looking for, is honestly just competition.
Agreed.
If you can see Anthony Richardson go out and play like a starting quarterback against a good team, a really good
Good team, yeah.
I think that's what you're looking for. A win
sure.
would be fantastic.
Would be amazing, but at least keeping it somewhat close for a while is still a pretty decent small victory, I would say.
I
I do agree that the Lions are the most complete team in the NFL right now. So if you can at least hang with them for a little bit, that's impressive.
Yep. We'll move along though to another divisional game between the Patriots and the Dolphins. I made that noise as well when I first saw this because I feel like this game could be a lot closer than it looks. I mean, the last time these two played, obviously Tua was out, but the Patriots did pull off a win.
Yep. However,
Somehow.
this is in Miami.
It is in Miami, but it's also
Patriots
in
do not-
November.
Patriots still do not do well at Miami. This is a known, I would say it's a known fact, or at least in recent years. Patriots, they don't really do well in Miami. I don't know what it is. Even when Tom Brady was there were some issues whenever they played the Dolphins. They just never could beat them some years.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm probably going to stick with the Dolphins only because they have home field advantage. Dolphins have Tua back. That offense is looking a lot better recently. Patriots, I mean, Drake May. That's it. I don't know what else you want me to be excited for on that front.
I mean, they do still have a pretty solid defense. Christian Gonzalez has still been a very good corner this year, and I think this could be close. The thing that because I'm also going with the Dolphins, and a large part of that reason is I think the Dolphins are going to continue to. They're putting things back together, and I think they're going to continue to. And I still kind of have the Dolphins as, like we mentioned, what was it now, a week ago?
Yes.
I still have the Dolphins as a potential team to sneak back into the playoff argument.
Yes. If they play well, they can very well be in the playoff argument.
I mean, they're two wins away from 500 again, which is kind of crazy, but I'm not entirely surprised. And I think a win here is not only possible but very plausible. And I'm leaning the Dolphins' way, and well, it seems like most people are. I wouldn't say expect a blowout though. I kind of expect this to be a little bit closer than maybe some people think.
All right. Moving on. We got the Buccaneers visiting the Giants. Giants have not won a home game this year, and that will probably continue to happen, especially with DeVito.
Now, don't hate on DeVito.
Don't send the Mafia after me. However, I don't think you guys are gonna really win unless somehow you pull off something. I don't know. This is one of those games where it's like, sure, you benched your $40 million a year quarterback who hasn't done anything in the NFL. However, the Buccaneers, they're still in playoff contention. They're only down 2 wins from 500, and they could very well come back. Sure, they are missing a couple very important pieces right now, but Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield. He does a lot with a little. So I'm expecting a win for the Buccaneers right now. They are favored, even though this is in MetLife. Baker's just overall better.
He's gonna bake.
He's gonna bake. Hopefully he bakes some cookies this time.
Yeah, first look at this game, my thought was, Buccaneers are going to win easily because Daniel Jones doesn't score in MetLife. And then I was like, wait, no, he's not going to start.
He's not going to start.
Now, I think DeVito is going to make it look a little bit better. Because I always think he makes it look a little bit better.
At least for a couple weeks.
And, yeah, especially for these first couple of weeks. I still am going to lean the Buccaneers' way because even though the Buccaneers' defense has not been great at all, not good. The Giants' offense might or probably is much worse. Stop Tyrone Tracy and you're probably fine. Malik Neighbors is a problem, but he's one guy.
If you stop Tracy and if you somewhat contain Neighbors, you should be fine. And the Buccaneers' defense, as kind of mediocre as they are, they're still not bad. Like they know how to play some defense.
Yeah, it's just the yards allowed is the issue, but again, Buccaneers, the wins that they have are from shootouts, and the Giants are not going to keep up in a shootout.
No.
So I'm going to ride with the Buccaneers.
Sweet. Next game. Cowboys visiting the Commanders. I don't know if you saw the line for this game. The who's winning, who's under and over.
Whose line is it anyway?
I
Yeah,
would
it
like
is
you to
not
look
pretty.
at that. It's not pretty.
It's worse than the Lions Colts,
Yeah,
surprisingly.
it is worse than the Lions Colts. The Commanders are very much favored in this game, as they should be. Cowboys do not inspire hope, optimism, or a sense of unity at all.
The thing that I love most is the odds are the same as the game coming up, and that says a lot.
Oh my gosh.
We'll
That
get
is
to-
hilarious.
We'll get to that in a minute, but I think that the fact that these odds are the same when
is-
you see the anyways,
Yeah, never mind.
yeah, pretty funny. I think that's probably tied for the biggest on the week, but I'm writing Commanders. I like Jaden Daniels. I like Cliff Kingsbury in the offense.
They've had a rough couple games. I mean, it happens. He's a rookie. He's not gonna do a whole lot. Same. That's why. Reason why I was giving Bo Nix and Drake May a lot of crap was because they didn't really have much to work with. Jaden Daniels does. He's still doing a lot, and he has a winning record on a team.
I mean, they're a well coached team. I think again, the loss to the Eagles comes down to poor coaching on a 4th and 2 call.
Yeah, that's literally all it was. It wasn't the Commanders shooting. Well, it was them shooting themselves in the foot, but it was mostly a coach's fault for shooting themselves in the foot. It wasn't Daniels. He was doing very well up until a certain point.
And it was that, and then even the week before comes down to coaching because it was discipline on a offsides call.
Yeah, it was literally 2 plays that changed the entire game.
Entire 2 games.
Entire 2 games. You know.
So like it's you get those like small things down. If the receivers step up for Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels is not necessarily he was not playing poorly.
It was the receivers were dropping everything.
Especially in that Steelers game. So it's just small steps up, and I mean, Commanders are running the ball well.
Yes.
Cowboys are not stopping the run.
What defense do they have besides Michael Parsons and
Yeah.
maybe Trevon Diggs if he's not being burnt in coverage?
The Cowboys are just a mess right now, and I'm gonna go the Commanders' way. It is an NFC East game. This is a division game,
It
but
is pretty messy. We'll see.
I don't trust Cooper Rush to win a game.
No. Here's the game that you were originally talking about with the Chiefs and Panthers, except there's the same money line as the Cowboys and Commanders, which is kind of funny.
So they're saying the Chiefs are to the Panthers what the Commanders are to the Cowboys, which is
Very funny.
the Panthers are a bad team and the Chiefs are a very good team.
And then
And-
you have that.
And again, I think the Cowboys and Commanders are. I think the Commanders are a good team. Cowboys are not good. But
Yeah.
to say that they are the same, that is crazy. So
It's pretty, yeah.
I will say the jokes of the talks of the Panthers being the ones that were going to pull off the upset and beat the Chiefs for the first time, very funny, and it makes it so much more tempting for me to pick the Panthers in this game
Don't do
because it would be so
it. It would be hilarious, but don't
funny
do it.
if Bryce Young beat Patrick Mahomes.
That would be funny.
It would be funny as
I would
hell.
be more than willing to choose the Chiefs just so I can see myself lose that one game and be like, remember when I chose the Chiefs to beat the Panthers that one year and they lost? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't with any good conscience pick the Chiefs, but I'm really hoping that they lose.
Yeah.
Really hoping. That'd be very,
It'd be hilarious.
very funny.
You know it's not going to happen, but maybe it will.
And it's
You never know.
not gonna happen. So
Wink, wink, wink.
that one quickly because that's easy.
Yeah.
Another divisional game. Texans hosting the Titans. Titans coming off of
A pretty ugly loss.
just not really able to do much against the Vikings. Levis played good for played
Two quarters.
most of the game. I think he was pickless through the third until one of the announcers decided to say something, and then he
Yep.
threw an interception.
Announcer jinx. That happens all the time.
Texans coming off of destroying the aforementioned Cowboys. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm going with the Texans.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
am
crazy
too.
enough to go with the
I was a little concerned if you went for the Titans.
no.
All right.
I'll leave that there.
All right.
Yeah. Moving along though, we got the Broncos visiting the Raiders. I don't know why this one has upset written on it. It's got like a big stamp, and I don't like it.
This is the game
Maybe
you
not
think
a
it's the
stamp,
upset?
but like a watermark. I'm not. I'm gonna go with the Broncos here. Broncos just again coming off a really good week. They've been playing better and better every single week. Raiders have been playing worse and worse. Brock Bowers is the only bright spot on that offense, and Broncos again they're just figuring stuff out on offense. So I'm gonna stick with the Broncos, but for some reason it's a divisional game. The Raiders are at home. Broncos just came off of a big win, while the Raiders came off a really,
Ugly loss.
really ugly loss
Really ugly loss.
to the Dolphins, who, I mean, again, are trying to bounce back, but
Still.
are under 500, and it's just like it. I don't know what it is, but I have bad juju from this game that
right.
I don't. I'm still picking the Broncos,
I am too.
but I don't like it, and I really hope the Raiders just get smacked. Praying, move along, but that game I have that marked, and I'm just please, please Broncos, please.
All right. And then we're going to get to the last few games are going to be interesting. We got the Niners visiting the Green Bay Packers.
Hmm.
This one was the one I've been sitting on this entire time, and I still haven't answered this one.
Really, I picked this one pretty quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me hear yours first.
I mean,
No, I want to hear it.
I don't think you'll be surprised though. I mean, it's not playoff season yet, but it is the Packers and 49ers. And even though the Packers are playing far better than the 49ers, I'm going with the 49ers because the 49ers own the Packers. They own some of that that fan stake. So they're in on it. 49ers just they've had their way against the Packers, and they're not a bad team. They're just not playing up to it. You've mentioned in weeks past that the 49ers tend to play better down the stretch, and they're desperate need of some wins if they want to make the playoffs, just because of how competitive the NFC is this year. Mm-hmm. Or at least to make it into the division, because even their division is competitive. So they got to start getting stuff right. I think the Packers is like a perfect mismatch, and it's just they always do well against the Packers. Maybe the defensive coordinator change will do something and make this year different, but I'm going to ride with the 49ers because Shanahan has a number on LaFleur.
It's true. You've already mentioned this. Niners tend to win a lot towards the second half of the season, especially when they need to get to the playoffs. They pull things right out of their butts and somehow win. While it is a November game for the Packers, and they tend to do very well in November, there's something about this game where I'm not super convinced the Packers are going to steal this game, or at least right away. If they do win, then I'm not surprised. However, the 49ers are technically on upset watch here, actually. They have been playing decently. While they just lost to the Seahawks, that was the first time they lost the Seahawks in like years. Mm-hmm. Like it was going to happen eventually. Also, as much as I hate saying it, the Niners are still a good team, even with all those injuries.
This is true.
I am going to go with the Niners because the Packers game from this last week against the Bears. This is what I said against the Chiefs, is that when you barely beat a team like you like the Chiefs beat the Broncos that week on a blocked field goal. That isn't really like cool. I mean, that's a great way to win a game. However, like you were supposed to beat them at least by like I don't know, like a touchdown or something like that. They barely beat the Broncos. And that's how I felt about the Packers beating the Bears. They barely beat the Bears. Funny.
Barely.
Barely. So I'm going to stick with the Niners in the hopes that Chiefs to Broncos or Chiefs to Bills is the same thing with Niners to Packers, where the next week following they lose the game because they got a blocked field goal.
Yeah, as the games get closer, the loss draws nearer. I don't know, some poetic shit. Anyways, we'll go on to the Cardinals visiting the Seahawks. I think honestly, this is the hardest one for me to pick.
This one's pretty difficult, and I'm still trying to find the information. Ooh, this might affect my decision then.
Yeah, it's a tough pick to make. The Cardinals, again, they're leading the division. They're coming off of a bye, so they get to rest up, which is always very helpful for these teams. But you also have the Seahawks, who have been, again, they started hot and then went through a slump, and now they're just bouncing around 500, still in contention for the division. I think that's going to continue to be the case. I don't think the Cardinals are going to run away with it whatsoever. So it's a game that's like right in the middle. Injuries, I think, look at who's in and who's out, I think is going to be very crucial. It's just it's going to come down to what we thought was going to be the specialty of the Seahawks, which is their defense.
Yep.
Honestly, that's the only way they're going to win is if their defense does have to step up. Their offense needs to do something because that's what's been disappointing. Not surprisingly so, but it has been disappointing. They need to get something going on offense. I mean, you have one of the scariest receiver trios in the league. You have a pretty scary running back duo, and yet you still are not really contributing anything. Geno, is he washed? It's a strong word, but
he's definitely not up to par.
He's been dropping off over the past few years. He's not been living up to that bounce back year that he had a few years ago. It's tough. Compared to Kyler, though, I mean, we've seen Kyler make flashes, but Kyler has not been the king of efficiency either.
No.
So I think I'm gonna go with Tiny Fun Man with a game-winning scramble touchdown.
All right.
Because he likes to do that, and Tiny Fun Man run fast.
True, but you missed one key thing though. I looked it up. I'm choosing the Seahawks. Do you want to know why?
Is it because of their record recently?
The Cardinals are favored.
Didn't the Cardinals win the last time they were favored though?
I don't think so.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
because they were just
if they did, it was just the 1 week though. But every other game, they have won and lost according to their over-unders. And the Cardinals are up by, I think it was 1. Was that 1 point or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah, they were favored over the Jets, and then they smacked the Jets.
Yeah, well, it's the Jets though. Like, come on. So
yeah,
I am picking the Seahawks. They are getting a little hot now, especially with that confidence boost over the 49ers. That is something you definitely need going into trying to take said crown in the NFC West. The NFC West is a bit competitive. So Seahawks are going to try and push for a victory here, so I'm going to go for the Seahawks. Doesn't mean I don't like the Cardinals. It's just I think with how trends are kind of going right now, I'm more leaning towards the Seahawks, especially since they are hosting the Cardinals. Cardinals don't do well in Seattle, so.
Interesting. Yeah, even I would like to rebuttal your point of picking the Cardinal or picking the Seahawks because they were favorites. According to ESPN Bet, Seattle is a 1-point favorite. So I stand by my statement for another reason, even though that is not the reason why I've been picking them or going against them. But
It depends on who you.
yeah, it depends.
Who
It
you're
depends
looking
on the
at.
line you look at. Either way, I'm still going to stick with the Cardinals. But the fact that you brought that up and ESPN Bet has Seattle as
Seattle as
favorites, I'm
favorites.
like, I feel better about this now.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that all lines are like that. So
That's true.
yeah,
It's
I don't know what we've been going off of, anyways. So
I usually use ESPN Bet because I go through ESPN. But
that's fair.
either way,
Moving
I'm
on.
going. I look beyond that. I go with the Cardinals.
Fair. Moving on, we got the
Sunday
Sunday night game that we will be streaming. We got the Eagles and Rams. What fun!
This game scares me.
Yes, this really does. However, if I'm going to be reasonable, though, Eagles should win, though, right?
They should.
It
and
should be the reason that they win.
I think the Rams are a team who logically will bounce around 500.
Yes.
I think they're gonna.
This is probably their down week, I'd say.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna dance around there. They got a lot of bright spots, but they also have some holes. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Their rebuild, which wasn't really a rebuild,
It's kind of
just
like a minor
it's
setback.
leaving some issues, and then obviously they've had some injury issues throughout the year. You narrowly escape the Giants, not the Giants, the Patriots.
Patriots.
Now you're going against the Eagles, who are a
Yeah.
much better team. The Rams have been competitive with a lot of good teams this year, so I think it'll be competitive.
They'll keep it competitive. They'll keep it close for a while. I just still think the Eagles, especially that run game, are going to tear through that Rams defense if they're not prepared.
Yeah, I think Saquon's gonna
Saquon's
carry
probably gonna have
them to a
day.
win, but I'm concerned this isn't going to be a good game, which just has been our luck recently. So yay! I think it might just be really low scoring, but I'm gonna ride with Saquon and the Eagles because I really like what Saquon's doing. I like Saquon, and I believe he can single-handedly probably beat the Rams. So
Probably.
I'm gonna ride with them.
All right.
And
Sound
now
good.
we got
Now we got the Monday night game.
The
Harbowl. The Harbowl. I haven't had one of these in a while.
trademark.
Trademark. So the Ravens are visiting the Chargers. Oh, having two games in SoFi right at back to back is interesting.
Days.
While the Chargers have impressed me, Ravens are still a good team. Even though they just lost to the Steelers and they only lost to a team that scored field goals again, I still think the Ravens should win this game. I don't really see the incentive to choose the Chargers right now. While they are 7-3, they've been playing teams pretty close, with the exception from last week. Bengals and Ravens are two different teams, though. They're not the same team. So barely beating the Bengals with a no defense is not that impressive. I'm curious to see how their defense is going to go up against that offense. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I already know your pick, but it's like I don't know how they're going to match up to Derrick Henry and all the weapons they have, especially Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is really good.
yeah.
When he actually gets points in fantasy, please get points in fantasy before I actually lose my marbles.
Yeah, this game. I mean, I'm excited for it. I have a friend who is a Chargers fan, who I thought was really funny when they got Harbaugh, and then noticing that they're playing this year. I'm like, yes. So
I mean, this was marked on the calendar the moment he got hired. So
yeah, this is one that I looked at too, and I was like, yes.
mark your calendars. It's happening again. It's been 12 years.
But looking at this actual matchup, I'm hoping for a really good game.
Oh, yeah,
I think
definitely.
again, the last
This
time
probably
these two
will
played,
be a really good game.
last time these two played was a good game too. And you're gonna have again Derrick Henry. You got a really stacked Ravens offense with an underperforming defense compared to the Chargers, which are kind of the flip, where not underperforming. Their offense is better,
Their offense is better.
but I think this could be a game that ends up actually kind of as a shootout. It could be a very exciting game, a lot of action. But I think the Ravens are more built for shootouts. They've done it twice this year.
They are very much ready for a shootout.
They're ready. The Chargers coming off of a 34-27 win. I think the Ravens are going to be able to go 41-38
Yeah.
in this matchup.
I mean, I can see that kind of score.
It's like the Ravens might not do well on defense at all, but I think their offense is more than competent, even with how good the Chargers' defense is. We've seen the Ravens pick apart defenses. The only one they haven't been able to get past is the Steelers, which doesn't surprise me. So,
Steelers.
yeah. I'm riding with the Ravens. I have my reasons. I have multiple reasons
Yeah, I
beyond.
wonder why.
I have multiple beyond the fact that they're the Ravens, but that's the only reason I need. Anyways,
Biased. Anyways, that kind of wraps up our picks. Well, thank you all for joining us for our picks for Week 12. Like Will has mentioned before, link in description for joining the Pick'em Leagues. We are trying. We're trying our best. It's very hard. Guessing predictions correctly is a very difficult task, especially with football. So, I mean, we're doing pretty decently. I mean, we're just not better than Mr. Katz. Anyways,
Mr. Katz.
Mr. Katz. I don't know, man. Anyways, thank you all for joining. We'll see you guys in the live stream or just whenever we get to see you again. Thank you all for the support that we've had over the past year. I mean, this channel is now a year old. It's crazy how we started halfway through last season. We just literally sat down and was like, "You want to do a podcast?" I'm like, "Sure." And here we are. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys eventually. See ya.
Bye.